everyone, and welcome to the fifth quarter, week 9's fifth quarter of every game.
Can you believe 90, 88% through it?
We've got 2 weeks left of actual season, and then it's playoffs.
There will be some teams playing their last game next week, believe it.
Well, I'm Ashlea Bullington, and this is the one and only Professor Matthews.
Thank God there's only one of me, because I couldn't handle a world where I had to deal with
I mean,
me.
we could maybe consider your daughters like a second one of you.
They are very, very similar to me. And we've had some crazy things happen this week. Some playoff races where we thought we had all the answers are now completely blown up. And a lot of playoff races are pretty much over. So we're going to get into all of that tonight.
We are. But one of those races that isn't over quite just yet, but it's getting really close, is the Lancaster Timberview game that was on. What district is that exactly?
Well, District 6-5A
Thank
action.
you.
And
Some
Division
6-5A action. Lancaster played Timberview, and Lancaster.
How do you say that?
Lancaster.
Chris Gilbert's like pounding me. That's the head coach of Lancaster. Lancaster. Yeah, I'll get it right one time.
But Lancaster wins 33-10 tonight versus Mansfield Timberview. They still have Highland Park left, which will be next week, and we'll see who takes the district next week.
All the big games in this district, and as you will talk about, I know you're going to talk about this game, but this game, my very first score update, as I'm sitting there freezing in Plano, was Timberview was up 7-0. I was like, uh-oh, we might have an upset alert, but then Lancaster did Lancaster things.
We thought Timberview might pull this one out, but Lancaster did Lancaster things. They had 354 total yards. Glenn Rice Jr. had a 50% pass completion of 7 of 14 with 1 touchdown. Trey Bradford had 10 carries for 2 touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. And DQ James had 111 yards for 1 touchdown tonight. A really solid performance from Lancaster.
It's a great name, DQ.
James. It's like Deuce.
Like that. This that kind of thing. And really,
DQ, that's what I like about Texas. Sorry, I had to. Texas.
She did it. And we're talking about sponsors before the show starts. And here now you have marketing in your head.
I mean, I could
you
totally
are a
tie a
social
lot of things.
media.
I am
guru.
a social media person.
Are you going to put that on your highlight reel? Like, I can sing your
no, because I don't want
jingle.
people to start thinking I'll sing their jingles for them.
But really, we can talk about all the positive elements of Lancaster. See, now it's in my head.
Lancaster.
It's this Lancaster for so long.
Lancaster.
Like
get it right.
It's like when you're typing, you're learning, you have to capitalize DeSoto, that first S.
Oh, yeah, capitalize the
DeSoto.
S.
It's just an important thing.
Do it,
But Lancaster's defense, only holding Timberview to 182 yards. And it was a pretty clean game, and Lancaster couldn't get out of their own way in many ways. 13 carries for 117 yards in penalties, which maybe kept this game a little bit closer than it should. But they held Timberview to 8 first downs, and after Timberview got that first touchdown early in the game, it was all Lancaster all day, and it sets up the big district title matchup, as you talked about, with Highland Park and Lancaster. Will we have somebody there?
I hope so. We should.
Will it be a game of the week?
No, it won't be game of the week, because game of the week this week was this game. Next week's game of the week is, I'll have to go look it up.
Do you know? It should be Lancaster versus Highland
Park. It should be, but we're really sorry. We can't do that 2 weeks in a row. There's another big game in the Metroplex next weekend.
I need to know. Is that Wizard's decision?
That is the Wizzy's decision.
Man, I'm going to go slap him around.
Oh.
When you have a game like Lancaster and Highland Park as your main event, you feature it. Let Glenn Rice and Chandler Morris have that debate on the field, deciding
we will be there, though.
Of course
we'll be there.
But it needs to be.
It's Louisville at Hebron.
Man, Wizard, you don't know the schedule. That's a bogus game. It means nothing, Louisville versus Hebron. It's like
don't hate on the game of the week.
It's just a nothing game now.
Don't hate on it.
Everything has been decided in that district effectively because of the Mound Showdown, which we were excited about.
That's what we're going to talk about. Anyways, the Mound Showdown, one of my favorite games in the Metroplex, and I was really sad I could not be there tonight. Granted, I'm glad I missed the cold weather, but I love the Mound Showdown.
And it led up to all of the hype and everything else to that. I got a chance to watch the final play, and Flower Mound was down on the Marcus 20-yard line, throwing into the end zone and got sacked. They were in field goal range, so they could have tied this game, sent it to overtime. And Marcus got up early on Flower Mound, and Flower Mound roared back in the second and third quarters. And then the fourth quarter, back and forth, Marcus scored that pivotal touchdown. And really, Marcus just dominated Flower Mound in many ways. This rivalry kept it close. They had 3 turnovers, so Marcus lost the turnover battle by 2. Had 510 yards. It was Garrett Nussmeier, 3 touchdowns, 368 yards. He had those big numbers that you like.
I do like that Garrett Nussmeier.
You love it.
That might be MVP candidate worthy.
Tyson Edwards, 21 runs for 123 yards, and Blake Short. We've talked about Blake Short on this show quite a bit. He did not have a very good night. He had an efficient night. He had 23 for 44, 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. But if you were going to tell me that Flower Mound was going to be in this game by 1 score at the end and he only had 146 yards, I would have told you you're crazy. I would have thought he would have needed a 400-yard night to make it happen. And Pierce Hudgens on the ground, 22 carries, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns for Flower Mound. But Marcus, the Marauders win the Mound Showdown.
I like the Marauders with Coach Atkins and all that good stuff.
Coach Atkinson, our buddy, friend of the show.
Heck yeah, we like him.
Friend of Professor.
I liked
Diggs
his
on
tweet.
Twitter.
I liked his playoffs thing that he did last weekend. Do you smell that?
Do you smell that? It's not the weight room.
It's playoffs.
It is playoffs, and we talked about this last week. How Coppell was going to be a big watching this game because that's going to set up next week Coppell versus Flower Mound for the final playoff spot in this wonderful district. Yet we at Inside High School Sports, we are sending the game of the week to Louisville versus Hebron.
I don't know why anybody's looking at me.
Flower Mound versus Coppell Wizard. You're fired.
He has no power to do that. I am sorry.
Fired.
But anyways, we'll go to another
Lord,
big
the
rivalry game. Colleyville
Heck is
Heritage
wrong with you?
versus Grapevine. I'm going to let him keep ranting while I talk.
I'm mad at him now. I'm like legitimately mad.
We can bring it up with him in a little bit.
When you go do your little thing with him,
You gonna follow me?
I'm gonna follow you.
You gonna follow me in
I'm
there?
gonna yell at him live. The last segment, you don't ever see me. You're gonna see me this week. Lord.
Anywho,
I'm gonna derail this thing until they fix this. I'm gonna go in there right now and make them change the whole sheet. I know these are paid professionals, but still. Come on, Lord.
well, I'm just gonna sit here and the camera's not going with him. Anyways, Colleyville Heritage Grapevine, another big matchup in the Metroplex, a big rivalry matchup. A little bit of surprising score in my eyes, as Colleyville.
Why in your eyes?
Because I think
I took Heritage by 21.
Oh, you did?
I did. Well,
you
know what
took them
happened?
by 21.
But
But Heritage beats Grapevine 28-7. Heritage only allowed Grapevine to score in the first quarter. They didn't score any after that. They had 332 total yards, and Isaac Shabe had 2 touchdowns on the night to help Heritage take Grapevine. To me, this is surprising because I don't think Grapevine is a 21-point deficit team.
They are.
I mean, granted you do, but I don't.
Look it up on the internet. I picked it. 21-point deficit.
But that leaves Birdville in this district kind of being the team to, like, Birdville and Heritage being the 2 teams to beat now.
Next week, yet another Game of the Week candidate that Ward is ignoring. You can tweet him, by the way, at the Wizard and agree with me and let him know. Give him some social media pressure to let him know that Louisville versus Hebron is not the game.
Wiz, I'm not yelling at you, I promise, at all.
At
whatever
him.
you pick
At
is
her
where
too,
I will
because
go.
She supports him. You see her just defending him right now?
I will always defend the
Just
Wizard.
defending him.
He writes the warm-up. I'm always going to defend
He's
the
gonna defend
I'm always
that.
going to defend the Wizard.
But talk about Colleyville Heritage defense. Coach Willis does a great job, and it is going to set up a great game next week with Colleyville Heritage and Birdville, potentially to decide second place. And it's such a weird district because Denton Ryan is so good in this district. Like, everybody's like, they're such a tier above everybody else. You have these 3 good teams in Colleyville Heritage, Birdville, and Grapevine, who are all battling for seeding and who are effectively just afterthoughts. Last night, R.L. Turner played Denton Ryan. This is kind of how dominant Denton Ryan is. They didn't even start their starters in that game.
Oh my.
They put in their second and third team just to start out with. And we I think it was last week that Colleyville Heritage hung the 80 on R.L. Turner. So R.L. Turner's been struggling. Ice Baby is not happy with his alma mater these days. Vanilla Ice.
Baby.
Rob Van Winkle, R.L. Turner's famous alum.
So a little bit of an upset also happened in the Metroplex.
Which one? There were lots of upsets.
I think the biggest upset was Mansfield Summit beat DeSoto.
Well, it was a huge upset, and DeSoto got up early on Mansfield Summit. It was 20-7, and then you saw the mighty Jaguars just roar back in this game, and they. And I think this is one of these games because last night it was absolutely miserable. I mean, it was just a
Cold.
miserable, cold, rainy night. And this game had 2 or 3 weather delays. And how do you get things going when you have so much weather delays? In Collier, our buddy Samari Collier, who's a fantastic friend of Inside High School Sports in the 5th quarter, even though he probably no idea who I am, but he's a big friend of yours. Right?
I mean, I like me some Samari Collier. I used him a lot for the battle for the bobblehead.
Did not have a good night.
No?
No.
Don't disappoint me.
Only threw for 68 yards, 2 interceptions. Kind of led to a little bit of what's going on. Both teams had 4 turnovers. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll give them this, though. It was a rainy night. It's hard to keep, as a former goalkeeper.
Love a rainy night.
As a former goalkeeper, it's really hard to control the ball when it's wet.
And cold, like you get your cold hands.
Oh my gosh, and the cold is the worst, especially when you have like cold hands. Oh my. So, okay, playing in the goal, I hated playing in the cold because if my hands were cold, I couldn't feel anything. And it was hard to get like a feel of the ball.
Yeah.
And it hurt. Like if anything like slapped your hand, it hurt.
And I mean, when you go really through the game, and like I said, DeSoto was up 20-7 at halftime in this game. 2 big touchdowns early in the 3rd quarter, and then they went back and forth. Summit scored with 2 minutes left in the game, and DeSoto was trying to drive late, but again, I think the weather and just all the delays. There was a point where DeSoto had scored or Summit had scored to tie the game, and there was a lightning delay before the extra point. I mean, it was just that kind of a game. I think if we played this game in the Star, DeSoto might have been a little bit better, but that's going to set up. I know you love drama.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe like True Blood. That kind of drama.
Terrible drama.
Next week, because DeSoto lost this game. We were all talking about that at Week 11, which probably would have been the game of the week. It still might be with DeSoto and Cedar Hill in 2 weeks. But next week, South Grand Prairie versus DeSoto in the Avoid Duncanville Bowl.
Dun, dun, dun.
The loser of that game will have to play Duncanville in the first round of the playoffs. Could you imagine DeSoto versus Duncanville in the first round of the playoffs?
I can just think of like that Halloween music. Dun, dun, like that, like spooky,
I'm kind
creepy.
of cheering for that, by the way. I'm not supposed to be biased, but go SGP. SGP, by the way, lost 39-0 to Cedar Hill tonight, so they're both going to be mad. Both had bad losses. I know it's hard to say that DeSoto and SGP, DeSoto will be a handy favorite, but you never know what will happen. Just like everybody thought Mansfield Summit would be the underdog in this game. Nope, they are now a part of that district.
They are now a part of the elite district.
And it doesn't matter for seeding. Again, DeSoto and SGP will be the seeding game next week. And Cedar Hill and Mansfield Summit have already played for their seeding game. So probably everything is kind of decided in this district. In another big game that kind of at the bottom of the district this week, Mansfield beat Lake Ridge 35-34.
That's surprising too.
So I think this district is pretty much done, but we do have those 2 big games coming up. 3 big games. We've got SGP and DeSoto, and we're going to have Cedar Hill and DeSoto.
So what's your 5th and outlying game that you want to talk about for this first
segment? And this is a big game, and it's going to make you a little bit sad. And no, we're not going to talk about her favorite team.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hornets.
I thought we were about to talk about Denton Geyer for a minute, and I got really upset.
No, Denton Geyer, they won this week. But Richland against Haltom, the Battle of Birdville ISD, and the Richland Runnin' Rebels defeated the Haltom Buffaloes 28-17.
Dun, dun, dun.
That might mean Haltom will very well could not make the playoffs now.
Dun,
After
dun,
being district champions last year, and they beat Trinity.
That's crazy.
And they have gone from beating Trinity 2 straight years to now likely not making the playoffs. They're going to have to upset. They're going to have to win out and then hope for a couple of miracles on the back end because they've already lost to Richland, they've already lost to Weatherford, and they already lost to San Angelo Central. They already lost to. They lost to Abilene, actually.
Oh,
so
it was one of
they
those
got
two.
San Angelo Central. That's basically the last game of the season. Their only chance to get in the playoffs is to beat San Angelo Central and hope that creates a playoff situation. But I want to give some love to Richland because I've picked against Richland all year, and all they do is keep winning. How about Cole Benson?
Fantastic.
How about Cole Benson?
How about Cole Benson?
3 touchdowns,
Holy
299
moly.
yards. A leader of men, Cole Benson. You are my first segment player of the week.
He doesn't actually get a player of the week,
I can
though.
just make that up. First segment player of the week, Cole Benson, Richland Rebels.
Why are you making things
You are the first segment team of the week, Richland Rebels.
Okay, we can go with the first segment.
Team of the week.
Team of the night. We
Team
can't
of
say
the
team
last
of.
5 minutes on this show here.
I don't know. What are we talking about all of a sudden?
I don't know, but
You're just trying to give out awards
I want to go to
people.
break so I can go yell at the wizard.
Okay, fine. So we'll be right back with more Diggsy content and his favorite segment where he gets to talk about whatever he wants when we come back after these messages with the fifth quarter.
Don't forget to catch our extended coverage of the high school football season each week on The Warm-Up, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents. We will get you ready for all the action this Thursday on all our social media outlets. Watch Inside High School Sports to catch this week's MVP, brought to you by GiveMeTheVin.com. These MVP athletes make it look easy, just like GiveMeTheVin.com makes it easy to sell your car.
And we are back with the fifth quarter, and it's Diggs' favorite segment because I kind of just let him talk as much as he pleases until I can cut him off because I can't handle it anymore.
And after I yelled at the wizard the way I did, I have a lot to say.
Oh, boy. Oh, goodness.
But I will talk about high school football. How about that?
I hope so.
Because there have been a lot of crazy things that have happened tonight. We talked about one of them, Haltom. If you would have told me that Haltom was not going to make the playoffs when we started out this season, I would have said you're crazy. At least the Buffaloes will get in that 4th spot, and now they're looking at 5th or 6th place in 3-6A. Oh boy, what are we going to do with the Haltom Buffaloes? But in 4-6A, that is the Arlington district. Arlington bounced back this week with a good win over North Crowley, 49-7. And that basically means, although it's mathematically possible that Sam Houston could beat Arlington and do a couple of other things, all 4 teams in District 4-6A have punched their tickets into the playoffs. Arlington, Martin, Arlington, Bowie, Arlington, Lamar, and Arlington. Now, we still have a couple of good games. We're going to still have Martin versus Bowie, Martin versus Lamar, Arlington versus Lamar. So next 2 weeks, there's going to be good games just about every single week. Also, potential Game of the Week candidates that some people here dismiss.
He's just going to keep going at this.
It is going to be like my theme of the second segment is going to be just
potential game of the week next week.
Potential. And another thing that I think is fantastic is, can we talk about Keller Timber Creek?
Oh, I am so down. Let's do it. What do we want to talk
Keller Timber Creek defeated Keller Fossil Ridge this week 16-14, and what that means is mathematically now, if Keller Timber Creek can beat Keller Central next week, they will have an inside track for the last playoff spot.
Ooh.
And this is a team that I projected to not win any district games this year.
That's not nice.
It wasn't nice, and I was wrong. So to my friends at Timber Creek, I'm going to look right here in the camera. I'm sorry.
You should be.
I was wrong.
You should be sorry.
I was wrong. I doubted the Falcons.
Another team in that district that played tonight was my Denton Guyer.
Nobody wants to hear about Denton Guyer.
I want to talk about Denton
Nobody
Guyer.
wants to hear about that, but you can talk about that.
They beat Eaton.
I thought this was my segment where I get to talk about
Well,
anything
I'm
I
going to
want.
cut in every so often.
Okay, you talk about that, and I'm going to pull up the Azel score.
No, okay, fine, we'll move on.
Is that all I have to do is threaten Azel talk and just...
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, at least tell us what happened at Denton Guyer. At least
Denton Guyer beat Northwest Eaton 56-20.
That's exciting.
I mean, I like it.
Northwest Eaton's got a good defense. So
They do, and listen to this. They have 494 total yards for the night. That a boys. Eli Stowers had 240 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Cadrick Cobbs had 144 yards.
We love Cadrick
rushing.
Cobbs on this show.
We
by the way.
like Cadrick Cobbs
Every
all
week.
day.
He
We like
is
Cadrick
our-
Cobbs, period.
He is our player of the second segment. I'm just going to go ahead and decide that.
Well,
right
okay
now.
then.
Cadrick
And
Cobbs, congratulations.
He had 5 touchdowns tonight
that,
on 11 carries.
that's efficiency.
I'm digging it.
And that is why he is our player of the second segment. Cadric Cobbs.
I'm just gonna sit over here for a little bit and just shake my head at you.
You should. I'm in a rare mode tonight because my beloved Plano East Panthers are mathematically eliminated from making the playoffs.
Well, I'm sorry.
They
Can
played
we
a good
cheer
game.
for Plano?
It's like if you're A&M cheering for Texas. It's like if you're a Rangers fan cheering for the Astros.
I'm cheering for the Astros.
You have issues, but we know that, and we've discussed those issues live on the Fifth Quarter weekend.
Cut my checks, and I'll cheer for you.
But another, I'm gonna give you a math question because we talked about
Ooh.
multiples of 7 last week.
I practiced.
We've talked about Rowlett and how they've had 3 games in the last 3 weeks that were 1-point games. 2 of them they won, 1 of them they lost. Do you know how much Rowlett won by this week?
Ooh.
You're gonna search for Rowlett real quick
Yes.
and spoil.
26-24. They won by 2 points.
They won by 2. So you can tell Rowlett's getting better. They've quit that 1-point stuff and have gone to 2-point wins.
They're moving on up.
Moving on up.
Moving on.
Talk about the cardiac kids. You know, the fact that Rowlett has played so many close games in district this year, they're 4-1 now in this district. That's just absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where a team has had 4 straight games playing 1 or 2 point games. It is just absolutely crazy. And District 10-6A, I think we're starting to shake itself out. Although North Garland may have something to say about it. I think Saxe's in. I think Lakeview Centennial is in. Saxe had a huge win against Lakeview Centennial last night, 17-14. I think we'll have highlights of that on
We will have highlights of that tomorrow on Wingstop Inside High School Sports.
Who will be verbalizing those highlights?
Mr. Pat Doney, your
Pat
favorite person.
Doney.
So I got to let you know something.
Did you get an autograph from me?
No, but you have to go to state with me,
Okay.
and we're going to try to get Mr. Padoni on the fifth quarter
Live from
AT&T Stadium.
Wow. I mean, you just made my dream. I have goosebumps.
Like
Okay.
I that's like something I've discussed all week this week to make it happen just for you.
All I wanted was an autograph.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
if you
trying to
could've
get
got
him
me-
on the show with you, so
know,
you
if
can
you could
talk
get me
to
like
him.
an autograph picture of him.
He can sign it for you there on set.
Live. Wow. You are the best co-host ever.
I try.
Folks, she is literally the best co-host ever.
Let me just sit over here
She's
and
the
bat my eyes
only
for you.
co-host I have, but she's the best co-host ever.
Thanks, Tingsy.
I mean, I would. I mean, maybe we can get Pat Doney on before then.
I mean, we might try to get him the week before that.
Maybe. But you're
At
like
Simi's?
November. No, it's got to be December.
Yeah, maybe we get him a call. He's got his own show that he's got to do.
What's more important than the fifth quarter? I bet we get better ratings than
Nothing.
the other show.
I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not really sure.
Guarantee we do. I mean, I love Corbett Smith. Don't get me wrong, and
The fifth quarter is way better. Though.
fifth
Sorry,
quarter is
guys.
way better. Do you know why?
Because
of
we're
us.
on it,
Because-
obviously.
Because we talk about things like Coach Buck's opinion level of your siblings.
Yeah, my
Do
brother.
you think
did-
Pat Doney talks
my
about the
brother didn't-
attractiveness level
my brother
of the
didn't like
Bullington
that
family?
comment very much.
Do you think Pat Doney will talk about that?
Hey, what about this Midlothian? Speaking of
That
that
was,
Alito
that was a
district.
game closer than
What
I
about this
expected.
Midlothian Burleson game
Way to
tonight?
get us back on track.
I know. I try. Midlothian defeats Burleson 32-30. That's a little closer than I would have imagined on that.
Why was that closer than you would have imagined?
Because I don't see no offense to Burleson, but to me, I see Midlothian as the second team in that district.
The good
with
news is
Alito.
they still are the second team in that
Yeah,
district.
and I see them above and beyond. Like I see it goes Alito, Midlothian, and then everyone else.
And everybody else, including Burleson Centennial. And we had a big shakeup that we'll talk about here in a little bit that I happily predicted.
Ooh.
I'll just go ahead and spoil it. Cleveland beat Everman this week.
Ooh.
And that has thrown chaos.
Wait,
We're gonna-
what's Cleveland's mascot?
They're the Yellow Jackets.
They need to be the Railroaders, like their independent baseball team.
What would you expect for? Would you want like Thomas the Train to go through their
Heck yeah, I want it to be a nail like they have for their
like
little
that? Yeah, everybody like
independent league
hammering on the railroad.
Anytime I think of Cleveland, that's what I think
the
of.
school song is I've been
Working on the railroad. Oh, shoot, we're having problems tonight.
Can Pat Doney do that?
Nah.
Does Pat Doney sing songs
We've got
to you?
such
I've sang
big
2
problems.
songs. Why do we have big
But
problems?
because we are so off task right now.
We are not. This is what draws the ratings. People want to hear me sing. I've been working on the railroad.
Oh goodness.
They don't want regurgitated stats. You can go see Corbett Smith for that.
He's throwing so much shade today. But Burleson actually has more total yards than Midlothian, having 355 yards for the night.
Now, from your
But they have 4
from your-
turnovers.
From your enjoyment level, do you like a team that only throws for 6 yards?
No.
Because that's Midlothian. And but they run the ball very well. It really flustered Aledo, and they got in Aledo's heads.
6
I would personally love to
yards.
see a rematch between Midlothian and Aledo in the playoffs.
I would too, but I'm taking Aledo by 50 on that.
If they get Jace back,
If they get Jace back, I'm taking Aledo by 50.
everybody assures me Jace will be fine for the playoffs. They're just taking care of business. And Aledo,
They're probably just saying, we'll just
take care of
We'll just
things.
keep relaxing, Jace.
just be good. We got you. We got you on this one. Defense, we'll work on the defense. Coach Buck will do Coach Buck things. Get ready for that. Playoff run, and by all accounts, Aledo has one of the easier playoff runs. It is not a tough region.
Sorry, guys, not
All
to
the
throw
way
any
to state,
shade,
pretty much.
but pretty much until you get to state, you've got it pretty handed to you.
How about another upset this week?
Ooh,
with
I like
Rockwall Heath defeating Mesquite Horn, which completely throws off the district by winning 47-31. And our player of the segment, right below Cadrick Cobbs, is
I was about to say, what are we doing? I
Josh
thought we
Hoover.
had- Josh Hoover.
He threw for 5 touchdowns, just like Cadrick Cobb. If you don't get in this exclusive club unless you hit 5 touchdowns. Josh Hoover, 182
The guy
yards
in the
passing,
first segment did.
5 touchdowns. That's the first segment. This is the second segment, and we have higher expectations for the second segment. We sing in the second segment.
We do a lot of crazy stuff in the second segment.
And
It's getting late, Dixie.
and Mesquite Horn even got their big running back, Charles Crawford, back, and Mesquite Horn. And we talk about this all the time, turnovers, and how many turnovers do you think Mesquite Horn had to lose a game they're expected to win by 16?
3.
Close, 4 turnovers.
Dang, I was so close.
But there's a 3 turnover differential because Heath did get the ball back one time. And now this is going to set up a few important games. Now Tyler Lee against Mesquite Horn will have added meaning to it. And now we can have 3 4-way ties in this district with Mesquite Horn, Tyler Lee, Mesquite, and Rockwall Heath all potentially tying for 3rd place. And then we have to get our tiebreakers out. And nothing makes me angrier than having to get tiebreakers out.
Why don't you like tiebreakers?
Because we don't have universal tiebreakers. We need universal tiebreakers. Hashtag universal tiebreakers. Because everybody does their tiebreakers differently. And a good friend of mine, Coach Bragg, Steve Bragg, the former now retired AD at Mesquite ISD, he believed, and if you got 3 teams in a tiebreaker, you eliminate the bottom one. You got to eliminate the bottom one, and then and it just creates chaos when you do that, and take the bottom one out and have the winners. And other things, we got winners, we got point differential and things like that. So Mesquite does things differently. We're gonna have to get. I wonder if our buddy Cody Groves did that. But I can tell you, Cody Groves is sad tonight too.
Why is Cody Groves
because
sad?
we had another Mesquite ISD upset. Your buddy Mesquite Poteet lost to West Mesquite tonight, 31-17. But if you look at that box score, there is no Seth McGowan in the box score. We don't know what happened to Seth McGowan.
Why is there no Seth McGowan?
I don't know.
Hold on, we got to look at this now.
I'm going to search Twitter for the word Seth McGowan while you tell us what happened in that game.
So
I want to know what happened to
West
Seth
Mesquite
McGowan.
won 31-17 over the Pirates. The Pirates had 319 total yards of offense, but they had 3 turnovers on the night. Digsy's a big turnover person. I don't see any Seth McGowan anywhere
No Seth McGowan.
on
In
here.
fact, Devin Hassan, who writes for the Garland Rowlett
Jalen Police
said that Seth McGowan is standing on the sideline wearing a cap. Things got a lot more interesting.
Here's the emoji tonight.
See, they don't do that either. They don't do emojis.
I
They
wish
don't have an emoji of the
if-
segment.
If we had somebody helping us produce this show a little bit more,
A little bit more.
they would throw up an emoji.
We'd have an emoji just right there.
Yeah, it'd be right in front of us.
Instead, it's us.
Instead, it's just me.
It's you.
I'm a
I just
cool
did it
emoji.
too, actually.
Oh, Dixie's an emoji too.
And see, I'm actually watching myself in the TV doing that instead of the camera, so it's probably even weirder.
You needed to look at the camera always.
I did. So big game there with Mesquite Horn and Rockwall Heath, and the effect of Mesquite Poteet and West Mesquite. Mesquite ISD treated us to some crazy football this week. Another big game, we had Denton against Carrollton Creekview, and Denton won that game 30-22. I was wrong on that
Dun
game.
dun dun.
I picked Creekview to win that game. It's one of my upset picks.
He's not big on being wrong,
I
guys.
don't like being wrong. Highland Park beat Sunset 79-0.
No way.
There was a computer poll actually, and I love Sunset. They're the Bison. I have a friend who is a alumnus of Sunset, and I saw a computer poll that had Sunset as a 101 point underdog in that game. 101. The morning news had Highland Park win probability at 99.5% or something, like the Wolf.
Oh my.
Like the radio station has howled.
That poor Sunset team.
So they technically probably got some points in the power poll because they didn't lose by 101.
Hey.
So congratulations, Sunset.
I feel like that's kind of mean the way we just said that, but
It's not mean. It's just saying they didn't lose by. Somebody puts out a paid subscription for people to read their power polls, and they had Sunset losing by 101.
how about this Frisco? How about this Denton Braswell team?
Denton Braswell is a good football team, and Reedy held on last night against Lebanon Trail to make everybody have to work a little bit harder to continue to get their playoff routes. Everything in this district was crazy last week, this week. But tell us about Braswell.
Braswell defeats Princeton 49-32. Both of these teams had almost 500 yards almost 500 total yards.
You just pick the big numbers, don't you?
I mean, no, I looked at the score and was like, dang, Denton Braswell is a really good team this year.
We love Denton Braswell.
The Princeton Panthers had 2 turnovers, but Grayson Thompson had 8 completions for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I can't say that. Isfemus Yesuf?
Why can't you say it?
Is that right?
I thought you're like the linguist of the
Well,
show.
that's what we're going to go with tonight.
Ifasimi Yesuf?
Yesuf had 8 attempts for 173 yards.
Ifasimi.
Ifasimi
Yesuf.
Ifasimi Yesuf.
There you go.
Please let us know where your heritage is from. I'm very curious. That is the best name that I've had to say thus far this season. So 8 attempts for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then Grayson Thompson also had 2 more touchdowns to add to that, and Cam Smith for receiving 4 receptions. Thank you.
140 yards.
Thank you for 2 touchdowns. Oh my gosh, that was so rough.
It happens. It's because I think I've just thrown you off with all of the singing and.
I mean, you're just all over
Pat,
the place tonight. All over it.
When Plano East no longer is mathematically able, my like soul just goes off.
I'm sorry.
I die a little bit.
Dun,
It would be like
dun.
if somebody said you need to go give a tour of Hazel.
Here's the
What is
violin.
that?
It's the world's smallest violin.
She's mean to me.
Tyler Lee and Rockwall was a good game too.
She is mean to me. It's not funny. You are seeing live or taped or whatever abuse, co-host abuse of the highest order. I am in a fragile state right now because my beloved Panthers are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And there's her violin with her Azel Hornets, district champions, Denton Geyer in the playoffs, TCU playing Texas tomorrow.
We're gonna get spanked.
It's just everything.
It's really bad. TCU's so bad this year.
They're Vegas favorites in that game.
Vegas is trying to trick some people.
I'm just saying it.
Vegas wants to take everyone's money. Rockwall and Tyler Lee was a close game, though.
Yes, and much surprised. I mean, Tyler Lee has played 2 straight weeks. They gave Mesquite everything they wanted to. Did you use that outro that we talked about with the Mesquite people partying? You said you're going to use it on like the warm-up or something.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. So we saw that. And they won last week over Tyler Lee, and then Tyler Lee comes back, and they give everything to Rockwall. And Rockwall, how did Jackson Smith do in that game? I mean, that's how he's there. He's playing, and I mean, they're at full strength.
Let's see. Jackson Smith Ninjigba had 2 receptions for 45 yards. No touchdowns.
No.
He also had 3 attempts for an 18 rushing yards. But Zach Henry and Braden Locke were the men
stars
of the
show.
night. The men of the night. Oh, and J.J. Williams. Can't forget
You
about
are the
J.J.
second
Williams.
segment, Men of the Night.
Men of the night. I like men of the night better than player of the night or
I
team
like
of the
that.
night.
I think you might have a new...
I like men of the night,
But don't tell Wizard that.
which
you
makes
might
it
have
sound
to
a little.
produce another segment.
It
like
makes it sound kind of weird too at the same
the
time.
Men of the Night.
Oh, we said we were going to do
Like
our
Ashlea
teams this
Bullington.
week.
We did not do fantasy teams.
We didn't do fantasy teams.
Maybe we'll do that on like social media.
Or we could do it next week.
Maybe so. Will you remember?
I will remember. I'll do it before.
Will you actually bring a real violin for me?
No, I don't own one. My cousin can play it for you though.
Okay.
I'll call her.
Do some production value
Okay, I got you.
during the week.
I do a lot of production value. Excuse you.
I'm all firing back now.
He
You play
just hit a nerve.
fired back.
I'm
mad at you too.
I'm 3 12-hour days this week. I don't want to hear it, mister.
Plano East is out of the playoffs, and you're sitting there playing violins for me?
Hey, hopefully they don't.
Not okay.
Hopefully they
It's
don't.
not okay.
Hopefully they don't let Plano West have some win next week. Oh, you started this. You started this.
Let's just kind of rapid fire some things. Since Frisco Liberty's been looking for their first win since 2017. It's a game that she would have enjoyed because it went 58-55.
Ooh.
Heritage. Liberty was throwing into the end zone and they threw an interception to not get their first win in 2 years. So, great game, 58-55 at the Star. Frisco Independence with a big win over Little Elm, 35-31. A game that was on upset alert for majority of the evening, but Denison pulled it out, defeating Frisco Memorial 28-21. Just all kinds of crazy things happening. And what about Lake Dallas? Lake Dallas and Lovejoy, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Lovejoy barely won 28-26. This district is crazy, and the big question we're going to have in 7-5A Division 2 is, will Frisco Reedy make the playoffs?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, Denison's got 2 tough games, 2 straight weeks. So Reedy needs to win out, Denison needs to lose out. And Reedy only has to win 1 game because they actually have next week off.
You lucky dogs. Well, actually, I don't know
It's
if
like the Wizards' brain has next week off. Picking games of the week.
Are you really going to go back there in just
Yes.
a minute and talk to him
Yeah.
again?
When you go in there.
Uh,
When you go in there on the camera,
I'm a little scared.
I'm going to...
I'm a little scared for your life.
That's okay. He's a Redskins fan, so who's really laughing right now?
I don't know who's laughing right now.
Me.
Why?
The last laugh. Because I'm not a Redskins fan.
That's a good point.
Uh,
I
what
mean, the Nats
about-
might win a World Series, though.
They might. What
Wait,
about the
let's see.
Colony?
Let's check out that score real quick.
They lost, by the way.
They did?
Spoiler alert.
That's okay.
Unless there's a fourth quarter. Yeah, it's 4-1. See?
4-1 final.
The last second.
At least the Astros can take one.
How about the Colony over Frisco Wakeland?
That's a good bounce back.
38-14. How about Sherman over Wiley East? 42-14. And how about Aledo? 77-10
Woo!
over Waco University,
Good job, Bearcats.
which is not in Waco, nor is it a university.
Where is it?
Think on that.
Where's
It's
Waco
probably in
University?
Waco.
I was like, wait, what?
But wouldn't that be great if it was like,
You did you do something before you got here?
no. Are you accusing me of like smoking things, vaping?
Baby.
A little vaping? Are you accusing me of vaping?
No. I don't
shouldn't
see you as a
accuse me.
vapor.
I'm not a vapor. I'm straight edge except for this, ladies and
No.
gentlemen.
We can't pull that out.
Can't pull
Gotta
it.
hide that.
Can't
We can't.
hide it.
We're not doing logos in this. Well, I guess
They didn't
we
say
are.
Yeah,
I guess we
Here
are.
we go right there.
Let me just.
Brought
let
to
me just-
you by Dell and Apple.
I guess. Nobody's gonna sponsor this now.
I know.
Gosh darn you.
What about Sonic? Will they sponsor us?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll talk to them about it.
Wilmer Hutchins in overtime over Carter, 19-13 this week. Red Oak put up an 84 spot. How many touchdowns is that? Quick math. Can you do
12.
She learned from last week, ladies and gentlemen. Red Oak
I
is
guess.
our 84 of the week. It's like our 3rd straight week where we've had 84
Woo!
on the scoreboard.
Hey, that was a good guess.
Cleburne beat Everman, as we talked about. I predicted that, 28-21. Now we have chaos because we have Cleburne beating Everman, Everman beating Burleson, Burleson beating Cleburne. If that happens, then you're going to have a three-way tie for
third place?
Fourth place.
Fourth place.
So you're going to have Aledo, Midlothian, Burleson, Centennial, and whoever ends up winning that mess. Will it be the Cleburne Railroaders? Time will find out. Lake Worth with a nice bounce back over Western Hills, 50-0. Glen Rose. We don't ever talk. We did talk about Glen Rose.
Hey, that's all by me.
They beat Godley 42-7. Big win for Greenville, the Mighty Lions. They defeated Sulphur Springs 25-13 this week. And just kind of looking at the playoff races as we kind of wind down this segment.
Wow, he did it himself.
I know. Well, you were like glaring at me with meanness.
No,
See, you think I'm on things, but you're sending the fire. You're taking so much anger toward me and just taking all of my vulnerabilities.
Can I put a halo on top of my head now?
I think just about every 6A district is just about finished. 4-6A, Martin Bowie, Lamar, Arlington. 5-6A, Carroll, Geyer, Keller Central, and Keller. 6-6A, we're going to have Louisville, Hebron, Marcus, and the winner of Flower Mound and Coppell, I believe, will be your fourth team. District 7, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Mansfield Summit, and South Grand Prairie. District 8, Duncanville, Skyline, Pierce, and Lake Highlands, although Richardson has a chance in Week 11 against Lake Highlands. If they can pull off that upset, win by enough,
How many districts are there, Dixie?
force a coin flip. I'm just saying them quickly. District 9, Allen, Prosper, Jesuit, and Plano. 10, Saxe, Lakeview, Wiley, and Rowlett. And 11 is the other one we have chaos. So our bookends in 6A have the chaos.
Longview.
But Longview is good, folks.
Longview is very
And
good.
we just found out today that they're probably dropping to 5A. Breaking news right there.
Well,
That's how
stinks.
good they are. They're just going to dominate 5A. They
that
might win 4
really-
straight state championships.
That really, really stinks for
they're
Aledo and Highland Park
And I've heard, speaking of that, Aledo might be going up to Division 1. So we might see Aledo and Longview
dun, dun, dun.
in the playoffs next year.
Aren't
If
they the Zebras?
the Aledos.
No.
The Zebras? The
Who's
Lobos.
The Lobos. Who's the Zebras?
The Grandview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them.
But coming up next, I am going to photobomb. the
Wow,
Wizard
he even tied
segment
himself up.
As
I don't know what to do with myself right this
the
second.
final segment.
He just took my job. What is
You
this?
do it better for me. You do it
Okay, well, that's all we have from Diggsy, even though he says he's going into the next segment with me. We will see. I don't want to see a fight in the next segment, but there might well be one. But thank you so much, Diggs.
Thank you for having me again. I might not be back next week, and if I'm not back next week, again,
'Cause he got fired.
He is the
But
he is the boss.
last one thing that you,
Okay.
what can you take one thing from week 9?
It's one thing.
Just
Can't
one.
do
You
that
only
to
get
me.
one. You only
That's like
get one thing.
That's like saying go
One.
to the buffet and pick one thing.
Pick
out
one
of the
thing from the buffet.
Plano East is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Well,
How about DeSoto? DeSoto that has created chaos in the District of Doom. To me, that as you mentioned, you called me out on it. It is probably the most surprising upset of the week. So DeSoto, first loss. Jaguars, good win.
well, that's all we have from Diggsy for
We have
tonight.
highlights of that, right?
We do have highlights of it. I
Tomorrow,
think
6 o'clock.
on,
Inside High School
on
Sports.
NBC5, 6:30.
Love you, Pat.
6:30. 6:30.
6:30.
I'm gonna.
We moved to 6:30.
We've always been on at 6:30.
That was 6.
No, 6:30.
I'm a
Good try
rounder.
though. Good try though.
I try.
But anyways, that's all we have for this segment of the 5th quarter. We will be right back with the producer of Wingstop Inside High School Sports, Ward the Wizard.
The Inside Story is driven by your North Texas Honda dealers. Right now, they can help you get great deals on award-winning Hondas. It's their job to be helpful, so stop by your local helpful Honda dealer today.
And we are here with the one, the only, the Wizard.
3 cups down in the water. The boy was
Got a
thirsty
problem.
tonight. The boy was thirsty.
Wiz, where were you tonight?
Then I was at Lancaster and Sam Review. It was kind of a blowout. Lancaster took care of things. Getting ready for Highland Park next week. I also shot a little Crowley action.
Okay.
That was a blowout as well. But Thursday, Summit upset DeSoto. I'm sure you guys talked
We
about
did.
it. And I tell you what, from the highlights that I saw, because Robert shot the game, the DeSoto completely devastated their quarterback. Summit's quarterback left and right, major hits, And what made them win the game is the guy got up and kept on going. We have a play right here where this is David Hopkins here, and the game was they were down by a touchdown here, and he found the open man, who is Jalen. We'll just call him Jalen because I forgot his last name. Makes the juke, scores. They were persistent, which is what made them come back and win this game. Because as I see Diggs in here, he's about ready to ride me for my game of the week next week.
Come on in, Diggsy.
Summit's quarterbacks got devastated left and right, and they kept coming back for more. And I think it's the adrenaline of it all got them past DeSoto 27-26. Who we got in here?
We got a guest.
Hey, guess what, Diggs?
Oh, I'm going to get out of this.
No. Leave him in here. We got
Okay.
Louisville and we got Hebron next week.
You have
Your
Louisville
thoughts?
and Hebron. You can do better than that, sir.
I
There's
can do
10
better
main
than
event games.
I
and
can do better
You
than
have a
that.
game that has no playoff ramifications and just seeding ramifications. We got district
It's got
championships
2
all over.
stars.
He's feeling real
What
big
What
of
about
himself
the
right now.
and SGP, like the Avoid
You
Duncanville
have
Bowl?
to understand
It's
the
huge.
methods to the madness here. We got to share the love to other teams. I can't just throw Highland Park and Lancaster in there because I just had them, both of them.
Well, that was
I
your
can't
poor
throw-
decision this week.
I can't throw
What
flowers.
about Highland Park and Lancaster? What about Flower Mound and
They'll
Coppell?
be in the show.
When do you
But
do
they
Flower
just
Mound
won't
and
be
Coppell?
first. Well, they'll be somewhere in the first segment. I don't know. Maybe I'll dump them to the second segment because
That's
Capel
gimmick
is.
infringement.
Capel is that is true. I just took his patent.
You did.
Capel doesn't.
Coppell's going to beat Flower
doesn't do
Mound
much
next
to
week,
me.
by the way.
Oh my God.
Wait, watch it.
Now Diggs is talking. Let me get in on with these picks with you and that dude you make picks with because I like to take Flower Mound. Put me down for Flower Mound.
Wow.
2 touchdowns.
Where is this bravado?
Guys, this is getting crazy.
It's
But
too late at night.
what do we have coming up tomorrow on Wingstop and Sundays
Tomorrow
and
you'll
Sports?
see Kamar Wheaton, which I actually sent the bobblehead over there. He looks like he's 38, but he's only a junior.
I
He's
think
got
the
facial
real
hair.
reason why I'm mad is what he's also about to tell you about tomorrow's show, the flashback.
The flashback
Oh.
is with this little-known running back, 5'9", 180 pounds. You could barely see him if he was hiding behind the goalpost. But for some reason, one Thursday night back in 2017, he ran for 599 yards against
Plano East.
Plano East. And we're looking back at that game, and we're going to cherish it, and we're going to say, Matt Gaddick, God bless you for what you did.
It's a tough week for Diggs,
State
guys.
champion or state record holder.
State record holder. He's got the John Tyler game to think about. He's got a loss to McKinney tonight, or was it,
Yes.
to think about?
And as she made fun of me, next week Plano West against Plano East. It's
Oh,
Plano
God.
West's opportunity to break that losing streak.
Hey, that looks like a game of the week for some trash show. That's what we got. Watch the show tomorrow, 6:30. Kamar Wheaton. We're also going to talk about TJ's making it through this tornado that came through there. They're going to play Spruce tomorrow. They got a lot of contributions from the community to be able to play that game, so we will have highlights of that and a nice little story on that as well. Flashback to my man Gaddick. And all the highlights you could possibly
All the
want.
highlights you could possibly. Well, he's the Wizard. This is the Professor, and I'm Ashlea Bullington. Thank you for watching the 5th quarter. Remember to tune in tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Like you said, NBC5. Until then, bye.